This person said they think that I'm ducking their comments because I can't figure out what basketball game this is going on in one of my favorite movies, Ocean's 11. Well, I guess it's time for me to show up. And yes, we only see it in the background and we don't get any good looks at a logo, and even the jerseys are tough to make out, but we do get a good look at the court, and that's all I needed. I knew it was college basketball given the type of court, but there were no indicators on the floor of what team it would be other than the color blue and this center court circle logo, which were incredibly popular during the 90s, so it was time to do some digging. But you're probably thinking, if all we have to go on is the color of the court, there are a lot of blue teams in the NCAA, and that is true, but I started with the Blue Bloods and I didn't have to look any further than that because the arena that we were looking for was Pauley Pavilion, home of the UCLA Bruins. And as we can see here, this is definitely their arena, but their court remained largely unchanged from 1990 to 2003. But of course, the movie came out in 2001, so that at least narrows it down a little bit more, but that still leaves us with over 10 years that this game could be from. But over that time, one thing that did change was the sign on the scorer's table. Before the 1994-95 season, it only had UCLA signage on it, but after that, it turned into advertising space, which looks like what we're seeing in the video from the movie. And this is when I had to try and track down tapes of the games from that time, which was difficult to say the least, but eventually the only time that I spotted this specific ad board was in the 1996-97 season, and in that year they played at Pauley Pavilion 16 times. But from there, I'll be honest, it was a struggle because it was difficult to narrow down the other team playing because of how out of focus this is. I was having trouble picking out any real details of the uniforms, but from that list of the teams that they played against, I felt like it could only be these 7 teams. So then it was time to review the tapes, which there were very few of, but from what I could find, it was this game against the California Golden Bears that I felt matched up the best. Now granted, what I was working with was 30-second highlight packs or newspaper articles for these games, but hear me out. From this game against Cal, from what we can see, the jerseys are the same, so that's a check. Then we have the same people sitting below the basket just like we see in our video, that's another check. But then what I think is my slam dunk, if we look in the first row of seats, we see the exact same people wearing the exact same shirts, sitting in the exact same seats. That has to be a check. So given all of those things, I think that the game playing in the hotel room in Ocean's 11 has to be this game that happened on February 6, 1997 and had a final score of 71-68 in favor of the Golden Bears. And if you're wondering if you know any players who played in this game, you might, but it's maybe not who you think it would be because Hall of Fame tight end Tony Gonzalez collected 6 rebounds in this game, so if we're going to see his big screen debut, UCLA or Cal, if you're watching, we need you to release the tapes.